Welcome back. 2 weeks ago, a Connecticut couple rushed home right in the midst of celebrating their wedding in Colorado after learning their dog had gotten away from the kennel where he had been staying. The search went on for Hans, a Great Pyrenees lab mix, for 10 long days. It was on that 10th day, with the help of an organization called Connecticut Doggone Recovery Volunteer Network, that a hungry Hans entered a food-filled trap and was quickly reunited with his pet parents, Adam and Michaela. Take a look at the pictures that CT Doggone Recovery shared of that rescue.
I don't think we've ever been more relieved and more excited.
He's really our best friend. We do everything with him, so it's really, really great to have him back because he's really part of us.
You can see their smiles there. Even Hans is smiling. It's the kind of ending that Connecticut Doggone Recovery hopes to provide all of those who reach out to them looking for help locating their pets. Let's take one quick look at what CT Doggone Recovery posted when Hans was found. There it is, reunited. That's what they want to do. Joining me is the group's administrator, board member, and lead volunteer for New Haven County, Carol Ferrucci. Thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having us, Eric.
So tell us, what does Connecticut Doggone Recovery do, and how do you do it?
We find missing dogs. We will go after any dog, no matter how long it's missing. Our mission is to find dogs for people. If people give us a call and ask for our help, we'll have one of our volunteers closest to the area call them, give them a consult, find out some information about their dog, how their dog went missing, what were the circumstances the dog went missing, when did it go missing. We're also looking at where the dog is. Are we more in a wooded area, residential area, and more about learning about the temperament of the dog. And from there, we formulate a plan of how we're going to help get the dog back home.
I want to ask you about some of the logistics of that happening, but anyone who has a pet can imagine the angst that we saw with Hans or any other missing animal. The good news is your organization gives hope. So you sat down next to me and nonchalantly told me that you rescued 3 dogs yesterday.
Yesterday.
So there is good news to be had out there, and it must be so nice to stamp that reunited on a poster, right?
It's the best. It's the best feeling ever. Last year, for example, we went out on 962 calls. We found 833 dogs for a find rate of 86.28%.
That's amazing.
We were very pleased to have that. Of course, we want to even improve on that more.
Now, we showed Hans there in the trap, which is how you recovered Hans. And I saw in the great piece that we aired that during this past week, it was a trap full of chicken and bacon. I was joking with our producer, you might have been able to catch me in the same trap. So tell me what you do and what you do and what you don't do, because there's a big important difference, right?
You mean in terms of...
if a dog is missing, tell me the logistics of what you do to find it.
Okay, so depending on if we know where the dog is, or if we have a good idea of we're seeing the dog, we may just set the trap up and do nothing else. We want to keep the area quiet so the dog can feel comfortable enough to go inside that trap with that great bacon or chicken, or we use liquid smoke too. All that's in there for the dog to have a feast. And we have to have the dog feel comfortable enough to go inside to be able to do that. So you really don't want any noise. By that I mean people walking around, which can make it more jittery about going into an enclosure. And just allow that dog the freedom just to go in there on its own terms to get trapped.
Would probably most people would think, go outside and scream the dog's name and send as many people out there doing the same thing. And you say that that's actually a big mistake.
It is. Because often, if you think about a dog, like a lot of times they go missing from a home, the people are away, like what happened in this case here, or it's a new dog to an area. It's because a lot of things have changed for the dog. So the dog is in a familiar place with people that are its world. It's in a familiar environment and with a familiar routine, and something gets disrupted. It could be a dog like in Hans' situation, which is a very loving family. It could be a dog that just is brand new to the family. Wherever it was before was familiar, no matter what it was. And now you brought it into a new situation. So this raises the stakes where something can happen, where the dog has some anxiety and issues where it can run out the door and take off. And once it gets outside in the environment, that's even more scary for the dog. And dogs often go into what is known as flight mode or survival mode. A lot of homeowners have a hard time understanding this at first. We run into that. We have to teach it to them. Because you're used to having your dog at home, resting with you while you're watching TV, not a dog that doesn't recognize you when you're calling it out in the wild. And that's exactly what happens a lot of times. What happens is that a chemical in the brain kicks up, so the dog's ability to process memory changes, and it's not able to remember you right away. Some dogs, it takes just a couple of seconds. I had one dog, the guy had to sit on the ground for 2 hours before the dog came to him. But it worked. It doesn't work, though, in every situation, and that's where the trap comes in handy. You introduce strangers that the dog's not bonded with, and what happens there is you have people who are now looking very scary to the dog. They look predatory. They look something that's going to harm the dog. So the dog runs. It can push them out of the area so we don't know where the dog is. Or the other thing that can happen is it panics the dog and the dog runs out into a road. And that's a very scary situation.
We just showed our viewers some of the traps that you guys use while you were talking. Mm-hmm. Let me just ask you some useful stuff. So if a pet owner is watching this, they can't find their dog, give me just a quick bullet points. What are the first things they should do?
Call animal control, see if the dog is there. Call us. You want to do a quick search of the area to see if you can quickly find your dog. You want to, those are probably the basics, and then we're going to start working with you, getting posters up, flyers up, handouts.
You said posters have been shown to be the most valuable thing.
They are, because not everyone's on social media. So what you want to do is get posters up, and we do big, bright ones, 11 by 17. And very simple, lost dog, picture of the dog, their phone number, and we put them up all in the area in a 2-3 mile radius to begin with to alert people to just to get the calls so we know where the sightings are coming in. So then we can figure out next steps.
And even if it's your beloved dog who's your best friend, who's so obedient, if you spot your dog screaming its name and chasing it, bad idea.
And the law of probability, yes, because it goes like this. Probably 1/3, if it's a very confident dog, very friendly dog, in the beginning of a missing time, the dog may come to the owner. But then after that, the more time that goes by and the more scary circumstances come up, the dog isn't going to go more and deeper into this. It's a continuum, go deeper into this flight mode. So the best thing an owner can do if they see their dog is sit on the ground, turn slightly away from it so you're looking very disarming, and gently call it. You may bring your other, if you have another dog and the dog's bonded with it, bring it on a long lead, have that out there, and maybe the dog will come to the other dog. I've done a variety of things. I had a dog that loved Frisbees, so I just started playing Frisbee with the owner and the other dog, and the dog came in to join the party. He was out in the woods.
We're all out of time. I just want to ask you one last thing. If there's a dog that, people, they haven't had horrible news, they haven't had the good news they're hoping for, is there still hope that the dogs are out there?
Absolutely.
Don't give up hope. We only have about 10 seconds left.
Never. We had dogs out 9 months and found them, 270 days. Do not give up hope.
And go to your website. You can get more information. All these tips are things people might not know, but they're so important. There's the website, ctdgrv.org. Lots of good tips. And if your dog goes missing, take action right away, and your great group will help them. Carol Ferrucci, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Eric. Glad to be here.